All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us during your lunch hour on this beautiful Tuesday. We are here with the absolutely fabulous Keisha Whatley. Keisha, thanks for being here today.
You're very welcome. My
So
pleasure.
I've got to brag on you just for a minute. I met Keisha several years ago, and when I got to meet her, the first thing I did, of course, was check out her work online, and her work is just stunning. She is an amazing artist. She is also an amazing designer. And she not only has her own business, but she has a nonprofit too. And was dedicated and crazy enough to buy a building to really have an impact in Philadelphia, right, Keisha?
Yes, you got that right. Crazy enough, for sure.
Good. Well, you are here today to talk about business card profit. I love the title when you sent this over to us. And it's how to turn your calling card into a cash card. So give us all of your secrets about how to make money, Keisha.
Wonderful. My pleasure. Do I have the mic?
You got it.
All right. Before we get started, I would like to thank Paramount Pursuits, of course, for inviting me to present today. Like Trish said, we've worked together for a little over 2 years now, and I'm always honored to be a part of this amazing organization making a difference. Just a little bit about us before we get into sharing all of our tips and tricks and secrets. Custom Art Studio is a full service fine art and design company in Philadelphia. So thank God for Zoom and MeetFox and Google Meet that we've been able to work with clients all across the country. Our core values are excellent customer service, high quality fine art and design, and bursting creativity. Next year, we're celebrating 10 years in business, and it is crazy. It goes so fast and so slow at the same time. We've worked with small businesses, large development companies, individuals, nonprofits, and schools all across the Philadelphia area and all across the country. So super excited to be here today and to share a little bit. This is actually one of my favorite workshops and webinars to share. So welcome to Business Card Profits, an interactive webinar designed to show you how to turn your business card into a cash card. So if you even registered for this webinar, that tells me you want something more, either in your business or your personal life. So I'm super happy to help you get there. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce just myself a little bit and share a little bit about my background and why this webinar is one of my favorites. So like I shared, I am a Philadelphia-based business owner for over 10 years. And our own Custom Art Studio, a full service fine art and design company. And just like Trish shared, started a nonprofit just a couple years ago. And now we're in the middle of a huge development project to create a creative hub for the community. In addition, we've secured over $400,000 in business funding to date. And we've had many multi-year partnerships with both organizations and community groups around the Philadelphia area. And I am personally a believer in grassroots, old school business principles. So I do want to share with you today that we're not going to be blowing your mind with any new technology, something crazy, something brand new. It's likely that nothing I'm going to share will be brand new or novel. What I am going to share is evergreen. It will last forever in business. It's well known and documented, and it's simple. So you might be asking yourself, then why even bother? Why are we even here? I bother because just because something is simple does not make it easy. And it especially doesn't make it easy to implement consistently. So take notes, star your epiphanies, circle the tips that apply to you, and leave all the rest for someone else. So let's talk networking. For most people, you either love it or you hate it. So let's take a quick poll. In the chat, type a 1 if you absolutely love networking. You do it in the morning and noon at night. And type a 2 if you'd rather have a root canal than network with other people. There's no right or wrong answer. Just pop it in the chat. 1 if you love networking, you're always up for it. 2 if you'd rather have a root canal or something else very hard and horrible than being in front of anybody talking about your business. So Trish, if you could just give us a quick, if you got any poll answers, that'd be great.
So fabulous. We got someone who put a 1.5. I'm not sure. Maybe they just want a cleaning and not a root canal. But we got some root canals in here for sure. But we got a lot of people who like it too. So it's a good mix. We're probably about half and half.
Perfect. So for most people, the invitation to a networking event sparks fear or angst, maybe a little anxiety. There's some who love to network, like it sounds like some of you in the chat. It's wired into your personality, your life experience, and how you generally interact with the world. For others, it takes real effort. So no matter which group you identify with, this webinar is for you, I promise. So today we're going to share 3 things. Number 1, the major networking blocker and how you can break through it powerfully. Number 2, why you need a follow-up system yesterday, immediately. And 3, the 3 basic but often ignored networking tricks that can lead you to increase sales, referrals, and approvals. So what do you think is a major networking blocker for most people? What comes up? It's time to get out there. Add it in the chat. What's something that you think really gets in the way when people want to network but just don't feel successful at it? I'm going to take a drink. Any feedback, Tris?
Yep. People say too salesy, current job, don't know anyone, preparation, time.
Very good answers. Absolutely. All of the above, right?
Time seems to be a big one.
Yeah. How do you get out there, right? How do you get out there? So here's what we think. We think the number 1 networking success blocker is most people think networking is for themselves. You think networking is for you. The give to get mentality that we know is all over our country, our community, the world, is killing our networking game. All right. So when you go into a networking situation and you actually think you're networking to get something out of this experience, you've lost before you started. Networking is not about your business. I know that sounds completely crazy, but that's what I do. So with a simple paradigm shift, you can not only improve the effectiveness of your networking, but you can change your business. You can change your access to opportunities, and you can literally create long-term success. So what do I mean by you think networking is for you? Like, I'm going to this event, I have my business cards. It just makes sense that I'm going to get something out of this exchange. So I'm going to share with you a very simple way that you can literally change the game in how successful your networking is. How can you think about networking in a whole new way and interact with people in a whole new way? And the exciting thing is, especially for those who would rather get a root canal than network, this takes all the pressure off of you, 100%. So let's talk about it. How do you do it? You shift your focus. With a simple shift, you are literally positioning yourself to be completely different than 99% of those in the room thinking they're networking. So how do you do this? You become a predator. So you're no longer like trying to go get them, though. You're on the hunt of where you can add value to someone else. So when you meet someone new in a networking situation, or even just in the supermarket, ask yourself, how can I help them? How can what I do make a difference? How can I add value to their business? How can I offer something to their business, as opposed to, like some of you said, coming off as like salesy and needy, right? So nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy. That's the crazy thing. Nobody wants you to come up and say, how can I help you? I've got this great deal, but everybody wants to spend their money. So the trick is that when you walk into the door, let's say you're going to an actual networking event, you walk in the door, you're not there like, who can I find to give my card to? You're on the hunt to have conversations with people about them, about their business, about what their goals are. And then and only when you're sure your business can help, then you say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about that. I just happen to do X, Y, and Z, and I'd love to be able to see how we could work together and I could help you reach your goals. So in the midst or the sea of people that are going around just trying to get their business card into everybody's hands, you're going to stand out because one, you're relaxed. You're like, whatever, I'm just going to meet a couple people who might, benefit from my services. You're going to be relaxed. You're going to be focused on the other person, which is going to make you stand out completely. And you're going to be memorable. Because how many people at networking events are coming up to you asking you, what are your goals? What are you trying to create in the next 12 months? How can I help you? If you're anything like me, and I've gone to plenty networking events, it's zero. Nobody's ever come up to me and asked me, well, how do you want Custom Art Studio to grow in the next 3 to 5 years? I could help you with that. It's always, this is what I do. Call me, buy my stuff, right? We don't need that. So you want to be memorable. So that is your success breakthrough. When you go to networking events, you focus on everyone else. It's going to change the game for your networking experience. So that was a little bonus before we really got started into the meat for today. So let's get started with business card profits. I know you might be thinking, business card profits, what does that even mean? They definitely did not teach this in business school. They don't, but they should. Business card profits is a business philosophy I developed over the last 10 years. It was born out of one simple observation. Prospects would see my work, talk with me, take my card time and time again, like clockwork. It was like, where's your card? I want to connect. They would be enthusiastic. They would be inspired. They would be excited. Then poof, I never heard from them again. They were sucked into the technology follow-up black hole, never to be seen or heard from again. So do me a favor, type a Y in the chat if you can relate. Have you ever met someone at an event, whether it's a networking event, maybe you were vending somewhere, or you were just in the market at the checkout and you started talking and they're like, give me your card, I've got to follow up. And you're like, yes, right? You're super excited. You got a new client, a prospective customer, new blood for your business, and then crickets. Type a Y in the chat if you can relate. The business card profits philosophy empowers you to be the driver of your prospect journey from a maybe to a long-term client or customer. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. No, they didn't teach this in business school. Yes, they should, because this very basic old school philosophy can change the game for your business. But you might be thinking, well, Keisha, I don't use business cards. I'm above business cards. That's so last generation. That's so 1950s. Who goes around with 50 cards in their pocket? I use my phone. I connect with people on Instagram, right? I'm like, what's your handle? I'll follow you, right? I use a pop card that'll instantly put my information into their phone. Maybe I pass contact information on napkins. Give me a call. Here's my business, right? Or maybe I use NFC or my phone and I'm just really high tech. Here's the crazy thing. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you give out 1 million cards a day or you don't have any business cards at all. Business card profits, this philosophy works in either situation. So networking gold, what I call the magic, is not measured in how many cards you distribute or the number of new contacts you connect with on Instagram on a daily basis. The gold is in your system of follow-up. So system is an acronym. It's an acronym that I've used for years. I don't even remember where I heard it, but it changed my life. A system of follow-up will save you time, energy, and money. If every time you get a card or if you connect with someone, you are not following a system, you are losing money. I can guarantee it. I'd even put money on it because there's no framework that you put a new contact through. So, what's your system for follow up for when you meet a new person? I always ask my coaching clients to walk me through, if I'm a new prospect, what's my experience from initial contact with your business through the exchange of cash for service or products? And I am floored that most operate without any system at all. Systems, like you said, like you see here, save yourself time, energy, and money. Systems ensure predictable results. It's one of the reasons why we see assembly lines, because it's the same thing over and over, and we know what we're going to get at the end of that particular system. It ensures quality service and customer experience. And the most important thing it does is it improves your brand's reputation. Because if Sally comes to Custom Art Studio and has a great experience, Sally's going to tell Tom. But if Tom comes to Custom Art Studio and we don't have a system in place and Tom has a horrible experience, that kills the referral pipeline right there. And Tom's going to go back to Sally and say, what happened? I thought this was so great. I didn't get the same result that you got. So systems, again, predictable results, ensure quality service and experience for all of your customers, and it improves your brand reputation, which leads to increase referrals. Quick story. Recently, over the last 3 or 4 months, I attended a grant seminar for nonprofits. Interested in funding. You're always interested in funding if you're a nonprofit. I had no idea what information would be shared. Before the first speaker started his lecture, he displayed his contact information on the screen. So I noted his contact info in my notes document. As he started sharing, there were some opportunities that would be great for my organization. So of course I noted that too. Sounds like it makes sense. Most people would take notes at a seminar. But the step that many miss is a difference between swift, fast results and a slow burn that might burn out. So he shared his contact info. I was piqued. My interest was piqued. I really wanted to connect with him. So what did I do? I have a system. So as he was speaking, I was literally sending him an email from a template I'd saved about my organization and exactly which program I wanted information about. He was still speaking, and I had already sent him an email to connect. Within a week, I was literally in front of him on a Zoom call. And within a month, I had applied for the application, reviewed it with him, and the rest is history. So the magic is not that I even took those actions, which might seem really cool. Like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm so into the information that I might not be thinking about kind of the next step. The magic was the system. This is what I do. So it's second nature. It wasn't a big, heavy lift to do it. It was just, that's important. I want to connect. I'm going to do it. And here we go. And one of the reasons that this was second nature for me is this bonus tip. It's a mantra of mine. It says, do it now and do it well. So take action on something that you want now and do it well so you don't have to do it again. So when I said I used a template of an email that I wanted to use, it made it so easy for me to go ahead and shoot out this initial email. So I could still be paying attention, make a couple tweaks, and then I'm back into the seminar. I did it about 3 times that day with different people. All right. So do it now, take action, do it well so you don't have to go back and fix it later. So let's now review a little bit of a few steps that you can literally take. Okay. Now, these tips that I'm giving you, again, not world changing. We're not solving world hunger. But what we are doing is looking at where are there gaps in my systems that I use for success. So really, really important. So we're going to review the 3 basic but often ignored networking tricks that can lead to sales, referrals, and approvals. But before we get to that, I do want to just ask, does anyone have any questions, either about the experiences, kind of how in the world did you come up with having a template ready? How'd you develop a system? Any kind of questions in that regard?
Keisha, someone asked the question, what's in the template?
Great question. Perfect. That's why I wanted to pause. And we are going to have some Q&A at the end, but definitely wanted to see, just to check in. Perfect. So your template, you want to have enough information that the reader gets a sense of either your business or your organization. So for instance, our template says, it basically, hi, my name's Keisha Whatley. I'm the founder of the Germantown Art House nonprofit. It has our mission statement, a brief overview of our organization. Then it shares what are some of our goals. These are the things that we're looking to get help with, basically. These are our goals that we're working towards. And then finally, what you just shared from the stage at XYZ event is really interesting to me. And I would love the opportunity to be able to meet and discuss both our organization and if this opportunity would make sense for us. You can feel free to reach out to me directly at phone number, email. The other magic trick is to have a link for people to book a meeting on your calendar. So not only does my template tell them who we are, what we're doing, what we aspire to do, and how I think they can help, but it gives the power for them to literally schedule an appointment right on my calendar from this email. So there's not I'm available 5 and 6 and Wednesday and Thursday, and you're available, and all the back and forth. It's just, hey, you feel free to book a time that works for you right on my calendar. I can't wait to meet with you. And you just get an email that says, boop, such and such has just booked a meeting on your calendar. And at least from there, you're getting in front of them sooner rather than later. The other thing that having a template does for you is usually if you're at a seminar and you meet people or you get business cards, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to reach out to them later. And unfortunately, there's no later time on a clock and there's no later date on a calendar. It doesn't really exist. So the best thing you can do is this bonus tip and do it right then. I'll get someone's business card, sit down at the table at the networking event and shoot them a text immediately. This is Keisha. We just met. Can't wait to talk. Let's get together. Right? So then you get that out. You get it moving forward. Super, super helpful. So I hope that kind of the template idea helps you, because once you have a template, you just pull it up into the email and you tweak it based on whatever event you're in, what they're presenting on. You want to make it a little personal, right? You don't want it to seem really boilerplate. But we just met at this event. I heard you speak about this program. I'm super interested, would love to meet. The other thing that it does is it allows you to stand out. A lot of what I'm going to share with you allows you to stand out. And what I mean by that is this: they are going to get emails from people who attended this event. They're going to, maybe not as many as they think, but they're going to get some. If you have in there a link for them to book on your calendar, you're so much more serious about what you want to get done than those that just send an email and say, I want to meet with you, and then just wait. So those little steps really help to move the process forward. Are there any other questions?
I love that you make it a system, Keisha. Love that you make it a system, because if you do it right when you're sitting there, it doesn't get put on your to-do list. You're literally doing it immediately.
Exactly. And when you're a business owner, a parent, a human being that needs to take care of themselves, running a nonprofit, there's just so many things. That's just one little thing you just don't want to have to put on the list, So the more you can do it now, do it well, get it done, the better for you in the long run. So, for instance, I just yesterday, I went to the theater, and there was a person that was giving out some kind of like protest flyers. And we connected while walking across the street to the theater and found out we were neighbors. She's in the arts. And I'm like, man, I got to connect with her. Got to connect with her. From the moment I sat down in the theater, I connected with her on Instagram and shot her a message. And the reason is that I knew that I would use the card she gave me. She only wrote her name on it. So I would forget, why is this woman's name on this flyer? And then I would lose a potential connection, right? So just the 2 seconds it took me, because some people are going to say, well, you were at the theater and you should have been having fun. Yeah, but it literally took me 2 seconds to open up Instagram on my phone, connect with her, and then send her a quick DM, because I don't have her phone number. She just wrote it on a flyer, her name on a flyer, and say, hey, this is Keisha. We literally just met crossing the street. She's not going to forget me. It's just impossible, right? So these 3 steps are simple. Just like I said before, they're simple, but they're not always easy to implement consistently, right? The simplest things are usually the things that fall off because it doesn't take any effort, whatever. But the simple things are what can keep your business moving forward. So the system to save yourself time, energy, and money starts with number 1. And number 1 is connect ASAP, as soon as possible. Shoot them a text while you're still at the event. Ask them for their full name and their email so you can lock them in to your phone. You want to keep that connection going strong. From the moment you meet someone, the clock is ticking. And you know as well as I do that people have the shortest attention spans. All right. Especially if there's tons of other people vying for their attention. So how can you make yourself memorable? You get the info, you connect as soon as possible. You're the first at the top of their new text message list. When you don't do this, when you don't follow up immediately, your prospect no longer remembers you, and they're likely less excited to work with you, even if they were biting at the bit when you initially met. And even if they refer people to you, they might not refer them to you with as much gusto because it's like it took you 2 weeks to follow up. All right. They've met 20 or more people since you met them. How can you stand out? If you say, I'm going to reach out to you, and you do it immediately, you are immediately at the top of their mind. You're immediately in their thought process. Oh, they're serious. So connect as soon as possible and connect on a regular basis. You might not even have anything to share, but you could always just shoot them an email and say, hey, just hoping everything is good. Hope you're doing well, etc. I have a vendor that emails me every 3 or 4 months. Hey, just want to check in, see if you need any more t-shirts printed, right? It's not salesy. It's not crazy. Where we get our boom lifts to install murals. He's like, hey, you got any projects coming up? Because he doesn't want me to find somebody else's company and start pricing and getting, some other quotes about it. It's like, no, you're already with us. Let's keep this relationship going strong. So follow up and connect as soon as possible. This one thing can literally shift your business, because I want you to think about how many How many connections have you made where you didn't follow up? And we're going to talk about that in a bit. All right. So, number 2, as you can only assume, is create and follow a system. Do it. So, just that's if there's any tip you get from today, it's do it. Okay. It's like Nike, just do it. So, let's share a little bit. What is your current system for follow up and moving prospects forward? And you might say to yourself, I don't have a system. You might, I don't have no system. I just get busy. So whether you think you have a formal system or not, you do have a system. It's whatever you do habitually. Your system could be not following up. My system is I get business cards and I put them in a drawer. That is your system. Literally. Now I can't say it's saving you time, energy, and money, but that could be your system. Your system could be I get business cards and then I lose them. By the time I get home, I don't know where they are. Like, I don't know if my car eats them or they fall through, the drain in the street. Your system could be connecting on social media and then crickets. So I'll tell you this. About my own personal system. My system is no, I don't want to follow you on social media and DM you only. I will follow you. I want you to give me something in my hand. I don't care if it's a piece of paper, a napkin with your information on it, because my system is when I get home, I have a reminder visually of who I need to follow up with. When you connect on social media, there's no ding dong reminder to say, hey, you connected with 5 people yesterday. Have you followed up with them yet? You're just now a follower of them. So as much as people are really apt to say, well, just follow me on Instagram. I'm like, yep, I sure will. Can you write down your name and your number and your email right here for me? And I just stick it in my bag. And they might not be happy about that, but they do it. Because remember, what I've talked to them about is not them buying from me. It's from me helping them. So it goes back to that first part. If they don't give me their information the way I want it, they're going to lose out, because I'm just literally having conversations with them about how can I help you reach your goals. All right. So they might be a little annoyed, like, oh, this woman is so 1970s. Why do I have to write this down? Whatever. I don't care. Right. Write it on this piece of paper, because when I get home, I've got so many other things, which I'm sure you do too. So many other things going on. I need a pile of business cards to sit on my desk so that I can be like, oh, that's right. I need to follow up with these people. The other thing that having it written down does is, as you're talking to them, I flip over their business card and I write notes. Oh, they want to do this next year, or they live in X neighborhood and I could connect them with this other person. So again, by the time I sit down, which is usually the end of the next day, in front of this pile of cards, I now have something to really like, hey, I'm going to connect you with this person that I told you about yesterday. Again, making you look really good because you had a conversation with them 24 hours ago and you remember what part of the city they live in. You remember their business, what some of their goals are. You might even be connecting them to some resources. So this system is, as simple as it might sound, is literally finding out how you want a prospect's experience to be when they interact with your business, from first connection through to being a long-time and long-term customer or client. So how do you create a system? Like that's really nice, Keisha, but like, how am I supposed to do that? I've got this whole box of business cards that are sitting here. How do I do that? So I'm very old school. If you haven't been able to figure that out. But again, it goes back to my belief in there are just some fundamental things that a pencil and paper are just more helpful with. Okay. So I actually offer, when I'm working with clients that I'm coaching on the side with their business, I offer them a worksheet that literally says, tell me what each step is. If I'm a fly on the wall and you've just received a business card from this person, walk me through action step by action step. What are the steps that happen? Right? So if you look at your system now, that might be, I receive a business card, I put it in my pocketbook, and then 5 months later, I find it in my pocketbook and throw it away. So that might be your current system, which is a lot of people's systems, right? When you're developing a system, though, you're starting from scratch. You're saying, step one, I received this business card. I physically put this business card where? And the next piece is that you're going to say, well, what is the purpose of my putting this business card in this location? Okay. So we're going to walk through this together. And I want you to play along with me. You may or may not. Normally I have people bring their business cards, like the ones they've collected over the years, to the meeting. But I'll tell you this, and I would bet money on this. If you never, ever attended another networking event or exchanged another business card with someone, I would bet that you could still build a booming business using just the business cards and connections that you have, but haven't activated. So if you don't have this system set out of where you put the card, what do you do with the card? How do you contact people? You will lose money. So a system that we're going to talk about how to develop together. It ensures that every contact you meet goes through a predictable, effective process of education, who you are, what you do, interest peaking. Hey, I talked to you about helping you with X, Y, and Z. You still interested? It includes a pitch. Hey, I could really help you with that. I'd love to sit down and learn more about what it is you have going on and share what I think could be a helpful solution. And an offer. I'd love to offer you my services. So this system means every single new person goes through that predictable and effective process. And over time, you hone it. And that's how you get to the effective part. You hone it. You learn, oh, if I do X, Y, and Z, that doesn't work as well. I'll move that out of my system and start something new. And this system should include before, during, and after steps. So before, how do you create a system that's like before you meet the person, right? How does that happen? You start to think about, how do I want to show up at this event? Do I show up in my brand gear, or am I showing up kind of incognito, right? When I approach people, do I have my thick stack of cards in my other hand and I'm, what am I doing here, right? You're literally designing the entire experience of how another person interacts with your brand. During is when you're interacting with this new person, and this goes back to our first bonus tip, where you're not talking about your company. I rarely talk about Custom Art Studio at networking events. I'm like, oh, what do you do? Tell me about it. What are you up to? I'm just like all in their world. And then they're like, well, wait, what do you do? Oh, I'm glad you asked. And then after is the networking event is over, your buzz has come down. What do you do with these business cards? Okay. And the purpose of each one of those steps is important. So it's what you do, it's the result that you want, and what's the point of doing it? Because if it's something that you do that's just busy work, you can take that step out, right? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And what do I want to happen after I do it? Really important. And it seems really weird because it's like, why am I going through all this with business cards? Why am I going through all this for contacts? Well, contacts and business cards are the lifeblood of your business. Your relationships is the gold. And again, it goes back to my old school foundational philosophy. People do business with people they like and they trust. And what better way for someone to start to like you than for you to be so focused on their business and how you can help them. And then not only that, but you actually do what you said you were going to do. That's what business is built on. It's not built on likes and follows and reels and shares. It's built on relationships. So here's an activity that is that you can do immediately. That's interactive. You can do it with yourself, do it with some of your other business owner friends. So it's only 4 steps. Okay. So I'll be taking notes. 1, find your stash of business cards that you've received over the years or recently. Okay. So find them. I have a whole box of them. I don't get rid of business cards because even though I have their information stored in my phone or in my contacts. So you've got this stack of business cards. Maybe you've gone somewhere recently and you've collected a few. I want you to sort them into 2 piles. One pile is the people that you followed up with, people you're already engaged with, you're interacting with them, right? You've kind of taken them through whatever your system might be now. And then the other pile is a pile of those that you've received the cards, but you never followed up. And don't beat yourself up about it. It's just what we do. Okay. Life happens. You get busy. Things happen. This is not about you getting on your own case. So you got your 2 piles, people you followed up with and people that you haven't followed up with. Every card is worth $100. We're going to play like some Monopoly. Every card is worth $100. Now, in your business, $100 might mean nothing, but $100 is still $100, right? So $100. So after you sort, I want you to calculate your piles, especially the pile that you haven't followed up with yet. And I want you to calculate and discover how much money your lack of a system is leaving on the table. I got goosebumps. I don't like doing this activity myself because I'm like, oh man, I said I was gonna, right? Take my advice. I'm not using it, So, but it's really telling and it really helps because you're like, oh my goodness, like I forgot I connected with this person and I said I was gonna X, Y, and Z. It's never too late to follow up. All right. So there's your 4-step activity. Find your stash of cards, sort them into 2 piles. Each card is worth $100. Calculate how much your lack of follow-up is costing you. And I guarantee you at your next event, you are following up with everyone because every dud knows a stud. You might meet somebody and they're like, hey, okay, yes, I want to help them with their business, Keisha. Like I'm going to do the help you with your business and be about them, but there's nothing they could do for me, right? Right? There's nothing they can do for me, but I will guarantee you they know someone that could. I guarantee you, because every dud knows a stud. So if you take everyone through your system, you're more likely to connect with the studs that can really make a difference for you through this person that you're like, they sell, I don't know, they sell baskets. Like there's nothing that I could do with that. You just never know. So let's go back. Number 1, you're going to connect as soon as possible at the event, if at all possible. Okay. Then you're going to create and follow a system. You're going to sit down with a piece of paper. You're going to write, what's the journey of a business card when it comes into my possession? How am I interacting? Am I sending an email? Am I calling the next day? Am I shooting them a text message? Do I invite them to an upcoming event? What is the system that I can apply time and time again? And then an activity. Find your stash, sort your stash, calculate how much money you're leaving on the table, and then email me how much money you're leaving on the table. The final step, because then I'll get on you like, okay, well, we have to do something about that. The final step is accountability. So there's a reason why your dentist wants to see you every 6 months. They know you're going to forget, ditch, or simply refuse to follow their instructions. And they know that you doing that is going to be detrimental to your dental health. Okay. It's no different in business. A mentor, a coach, or accountability program is essential to ensure that you're following the plan to reach your goals. Every single high-performing business owner, athlete, professional has a coach or mentor. Every single one. So as much as we think, what's my guy, Jalen Hurts, right? Because I'm from Philly. Yes, the Eagles. I'm sorry, guys. Our quarterback, right? He's great on his own, but he has a coach that tweaks things. right? So if you want to perform on a high level, this type of investment in yourself is crucial, it's critical. And the return on investment is priceless because your coach remembers goals that you forgot because we take notes, right? Helps you strategize and shines a light on your blind spots. Sometimes calls you to the carpet with some of your mess so that you can grow and move forward. That your friends who just want to support you and love you and encourage you might not do. They might know you're literally headed towards a brick wall, but not say anything because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So, what does accountability look like for you? It could look like a ton of different things. You could connect with other small business owners in your network. You could network and meet some small business owners, and then they're in your network. Did you see how I did that? Okay. So you could do that. You can participate in group coaching or one-on-one coaching with different organizations. But you want to be able, you need someone who's looking a few steps ahead of you who can make sure you're not tripping on yourself, okay? And hurting yourself and not following up with all of this money that you're leaving on the table. So our organization is launching a mastermind. It's a group, it'll be starting in January, and I'm super excited to share it with you today. You're actually the first group that we're really sharing this with. So in January, we're starting a mastermind program called the BFF Mastermind. And the BFF is not for best friends forever, but we will be because we're going to be building fortune and not fame. So that's what BFF stands for. Our goal is to help people build generational wealth, to learn skills that are gaps, but also to have a mastermind of other people to really bounce ideas off of and connect with. So if the type of information and gems that you got today kind of resonate with you, feel free to shoot your full name and email address to my email. And as you can see, hint, hint, do it now. And you can send it to info@customartsstudio.com. So those three things again are connect as soon as possible. Hint, hint. Connect with me if you're interested. Number 2, develop yourself a system. It doesn't have to be Keisha's system. It doesn't have to be Trisha's system, but it needs to be a system that works for you and your business. And then number 3 is find yourself accountability. Develop it or be a part of another group. Really, really, really important. So with that, I want to open it up for questions and answers. My contact information is right here on the screen. It's my hope that this very simple presentation with things that probably you've heard a million times before, hopefully something clicked that you can use and apply immediately. And don't forget, send me how much money you're leaving on the table. Thank you so much. So I'll open it up for question and answers about anything.
Absolutely fantastic. Chris Norris just said, got to run, but Keisha, you're amazing. And thank you for sharing so much value.
Hey, Chris.
Really, really good and great information. For those who don't know, Keisha is also a mentor with Paramount Pursuits and has a huge fan club of clients that we work with as well. Keisha, one of the things that I added to my system, and I think Julie's on the call, she'll laugh at this one. I went to a conference in San Antonio, Texas, and I got a business card from a guy who had a funding source for us. And I put the card in my back pocket. The phone went in my back pocket. Later on that day, I go to pull out his card to message him, and no card. Mm-hmm. We literally backtracked through San Antonio to try to go find this card because I was leaving a lot of money on the table by not having the card. So my new part of my system is I take a snapshot of the business card because I'm not gonna be the one who loses the card again. So I love that you talk about how everyone's system is different. So
100%.
yeah,
100%. You just and it takes that trial and error to figure out what system works for you, you know?
yeah,
Just tweak it along the way. I mean, what I do now is totally different than what I did in 2014,
yeah. Right, 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 right.
you
And
know?
you learn from lessons like that, right? It
You
has
learn really fast.
never again, right?
Yeah, when you said you put the business card in your pocket and the phone, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, it's
Yep.
happened to me too."
Yep. Oh, Scott put a good gem in here. For those interested, Google Workspace now offers appointment scheduling. And you could get Google Business at or Google Workspace at $6 a month. So
Yeah,
that's an amazing option
yes. Well,
right now.
Google's taking over everything. I just heard something. They're in a little hot water right now, with monopolizing their their whole setup. But I see why, because it's like you don't need a scheduling link. Just come on over here.
Right. And we're already in Google so much in our day to day. So why not just keep throwing more things in that eventually they're going to raise the price and charge us for?
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's what they do. They bring in and then
yeah,
they gotcha, like MailChimp. Don't get me started.
absolutely. Yeah, Scott, thank you for that. That was a great tip for somebody who needs it. Any other questions that you guys have?
Even that might be specific to your business, because every business is also different.
Sure. This is amazing information, Keisha, because it feels really overwhelming sometimes to go to networking events.
Mhm.
You go when you're a fly on the wall, when you're not sure who to talk to, and you don't want to come off as too salesy. So your tips are definitely great.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad.
Good. You got a lot of thank yous in here. You made
Oh,
today for sure.
awesome. I'm glad. It's one of my favorite webinars to do.
Good.
Yeah,
Well, we appreciate you guys, you being here, and Keisha taking an hour out of your very busy schedule to spend your lunch with us. It's
you got it.
greatly appreciated. For the rest of you, thank you for spending your lunch with us, and get in touch and let us know how we could all help.
Don't forget to email me how much money you're leaving on the table.
Yeah.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Good stuff.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Keisha. We
You got
appreciate
it.
you.
You got it. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.